So, welcome everybody. This is another edition of Draw Me Anything. My name is Jason Chatfield. I'm a cartoonist and comedian in Manhattan, and I'm joined today by my fellow New Yorker cartoonist and author and director, Liza Donnelly. Welcome, Liza.
Thanks, Jason. Nice to see you. Thanks for
Yeah,
doing
good to
this.
have you
Yeah.
back. Of course. I've had the privilege of talking to you. I think maybe this time last year it might have been. We were talking about all kinds of things, and it was his sort of we were about a month after the inauguration, and we were both sort of at this, I think,
Right.
mild panic, just sort of watching
So,
everything
yeah, I guess
untether.
it's simpler times. Little
Yeah.
did we know it was going to happen.
Little did
Jesus.
we know.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
I mean, I don't know how you feel about this State of the Union tonight, which, by the way, everyone watching, Liza is going to be live drawing the State of the Union tonight. She does a lot of great live drawing and reportage
Thank you.
work. And I know you've done this for the Oscars. You've done it at the Oscars. You've done it for lots of different events.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about it tonight?
I'm dreading it, frankly. But I do. I mean, I've always liked the State of the Union, and that's actually how I started drawing. Live drawing was back 2015. I had a new iPad, and I was watching the State of the Union, which I always like to watch. Glutton for punishment, but I find it interesting. I find it fascinating. But I started live drawing what I saw on the TV, and this was in the heyday of Twitter. I was live drawing what I was seeing on
Is it
on
Periscope?
television. What did I no? What did I use? No, it wasn't with a video. So I did use
Oh, okay.
Periscope.
Right.
I did use Periscope some, but it was Twitter, and I would just post the drawings with little snarky comments or serious comments on with the tweet, and it kind of took off. I mean, people liked it because there was nothing else happening like that on Twitter at the time. So that's how I started doing it, and I saw it's an annual thing.
So you live draw the State of the Union every year now?
Yeah.
I noticed you're over the years, and I was talking to our friend Anne Telnays about this, that you end up just creating this almost it's a caricature, but it's a version of the president. I mean, whether it's Obama or Biden or Trump, it's sort of this. It sort of encapsulates not just their sort of image, but their personality, and sort of whether they have an ugliness about them or an aura, whatever it is. You sort of distilled it down to a few lines. Your Trump has evolved, I've noticed, over the past year. Yeah,
Yeah, well, God, we've been drawing them for
too long.
Yeah. It has evolved a lot and stripped down somewhat. And when he first became president, I was actually working for CBS News at the time, so doing live drawing for them. And my Trump was a little less caricatured, but then it's gotten more and more caricatured over time. But that's not what I'm doing tonight. Usually, I draw what I see. And it's my style, so it's obviously not realistic. It's something my version. It's very quick because I do it really fast. And
Okay.
I did get to see Trump. So when I was at CBS News, I would live draw for their morning show, and they would send me places, which was really fun. They sent me to a White House press conference. So I went down to DC and hung around waiting for what was the name of the press guy back then? He was very funny. I can't remember his name right now.
Scaramucci?
No. Anyway, this was in 2017 or so. And
Spicer.
yes. No, Spicer, was it? Yeah, Spicer. Good memory.
Trauma does that.
So I was waiting there with all these other journalists in that room, that wonderful room that we all know too well. And they canceled the press conference.
Really?
For whatever reason, I don't know why.
Oh.
And so I just was hanging around drawing things around me because I didn't want to leave. You know, I was there in the White House grounds, and I saw Kellyanne Conway walk by. It was kind of fascinating. And then so I was talking to some cameramen, and I said, well, he said, oh, there's a press conference in the White House. I forget which room it is, Jason, but I said, well, I don't know if I have clearance to go in there. And he said, stick with me. So I snuck in with the cameraman, And
Mm.
live drew Trump. He was at a distance, but all the cameramen were around me and the gear and stuff. And I stood there and I drew him with the Italian prime minister. Um,
Ah,
yeah,
right.
it's kind
Wow.
of a
That would have been
amazing.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. It was.
Yeah. I think you might be one of the only cartoonists to live draw any of the current and most recent administration. I think, I mean, I don't know if there were previous cartoonists who were sort of more reportage,
Oh,
embedded with the press corps or anything like that. But it
I
seems
don't
like you're the only
know.
one.
Yeah, and that was a fun gig with CBS for about 4 years, and then CBS imploded, as you probably recall, with Me
Yes.
Too. Charlie Rose
Hmm.
was part of that show, and he left. He was kicked
Oh,
out, and
yeah,
then
that's
Les
right.
Moonves. So they, being a cartoonist, doing that kind of thing, which
Mm,
and my bosses left, the people who had brought me in. So
right.
uh, then I was not hired anymore. So I
Mm,
really wish um, I would love to do that again. But it's hard. The
mm.
media is such a mess right now. I don't think
It is. I think
it's not.
CBS is being run by Barry Weiss now, isn't it?
Mhm.
Mm. Well, she likes cartoonists. At least she likes. I mean, she
Yeah,
has a cartoonist every Friday, but he's not really a cartoonist. He's a playwright who
she
draws.
does. I don't think I'd really wanna
Yeah.
work for them right now, to be
No,
honest.
me either. It's David Mamet has been contributing cartoons to them every Friday, which is interesting because he's not.
Weird.
And I'm not speaking out of school here. He's not a cartoonist. He's just a playwright with some opinions, a
Well,
writer.
I actually remember when I started. Well, you remember Bob Menkoff. He
Sure.
was he talked about David Mamet wanting to have a cartoon in The New Yorker, and I don't think he ever succeeded.
No,
Right.
he didn't. No, I think he's still a bit sore about it, if I'm honest. Um, by the way, the last time you were on, anyone who's just tuning in, we've got a lot more people in now than we did when we started. This is Liza Donnelly, New Yorker cartoonist, author, and now documentary director. I wanted to thank you and your husband, Michael, for sending this amazing book, this Peter Arno book, Michael, The Mad, Mad World of the New Yorker's Greatest Cartoonists. Huge claim. Greatest cartoon, greatest cartoonist.
I
It's actually a great book. I learned a lot about New York from this book, not just cartooning, but
Mhm.
as an immigrant and as a New Yorker of only 11 years, I actually learned a lot about the city through this book. So thank you for gifting that last time you were on the show. It's a really good book.
Thank Michael.
Yeah.
And he's watching, I assume, if he
Oh,
figured out.
I think I did see him join. Hi, Michael.
Okay, good.
Um, Now, I want to talk to you about the documentary that you have directed with Kathleen Hughes, and it's called Women Laughing. Now, there are some screenings coming up, and I want to mention this a couple of times throughout the stream, just in case people dip in and out. There are 3 screenings coming up on March 9th at the Athena Film Festival, March 19th at the Society of Illustrators, which is also with Roz Chast and Emily Flake, if I'm not
Mhm, mhm.
mistaken,
Yeah.
and March 25th at the Brooklyn History Library. Did you want to have a bit of I don't want to say too much about it because I want to hear you talk about it. So,
Mhm.
how did it come about and how's it been going? Because I know it's already premiered.
Yeah, it premiered last fall at the, up in Woodstock, New York, at the Woodstock Film Festival, and then it went to the New York um, Doc NYC, which is a really fun film festival in the fall, and then a couple other ones. So we're doing the festival circuit right now. Um, how did it start? Well, I did the book Very Funny Ladies, and before that, Funny Ladies, about the history of the women cartoonists at the New Yorker. And during the pandemic, I just thought, well, it really should be a documentary because I want more people to know about these women, past and present. And so I spent time during the pandemic taking classes at Sundance Collab, which is a great place if you want to know about film to take classes there
Mm, mm,
online. And then I talked to any documentarian who would give me a moment, and they're all very generous. So I talked to a lot of people to try to figure out how to do this. And I guess over time, I met Kathleen Hughes at a friend's birthday party, just by
mhm,
chance. She was introduced to me, and I got along with her immediately. She's an incredibly talented director, and right now she's doing a film with her husband about Bill Moyers because she has spent 30 plus years um, doing documentaries with him. He
mm,
just passed away last year.
right.
Um, and I was honored that she agreed to do this with me, to direct with me too. So, 'cause I
Mm,
don't know how to direct. So she was a great teacher, and we had great conversations. And then she has an editor that worked very well with us, Andrew Fredericks, who's an incredible director. And producers, before I met Kathy, I met Judith Mizraki, who is our producer. We also have Natalie Seaver, another producer. But Judith and I worked very well together too. She did a great. If you want to know more about New York, Jason,
Yeah.
Judith's film with her husband is called Uncropped. And it's about a photographer. Well, let's see if I can bring up his name in my brain. I can't. Sorry, but he worked for the Village Voice in the 70s
Right.
and 80s.
Oh,
So
wow.
it's a documentary about him, but also about New York in that time period, which is when I
Love
moved
that.
there, and it's really fun.
Mm.
Kathy did a documentary called one about Disney, the Disney family. She directed that with Abigail Disney, and
Oh,
yeah, so we got a great team together. I felt so
mm,
fortunate. And I did a couple Kickstarters. We have a
mhm.
couple of other executive producers who donated money, and it's like piecing it all together. And was in dialogue with the New Yorker since I had the idea, and David
Mm.
Remnick was always supportive. He wrote the forward to my book, Very Funny Ladies, which came out in 2022, along with Emma Allen.
Right.
So David's always known my passion for this subject. So I
Mm.
told him about the documentary, and he was interested in verbally encouraging, um, and so we made the film. We were talking to them all the while. And the New Yorker has a video department which does all the videos that you see in on their
Right.
socials, but also they have a a part of their site, which is shorts. And so they acquire shorts, and they distribute them on their website. So if you go to, I don't know what the URL is, but you can find, many people don't know this about the New Yorker, that they don't create the movies, but they bring them onto their site if they think they like
Right.
them. And they won
Yeah.
some Academy Awards. You know it? Yeah.
They have. I mean, you were familiar with Jennifer George, Rube Goldberg's granddaughter?
Yes. Yes.
Her son just got one up on the New
That's
Yorker's
right.
website.
Yeah.
So it's a
Jennifer's.
funny one about the funding of documentary, like
Yeah.
trying to finance a documentary
Yeah.
and then get it on the festival circuit. And it's
Mhm.
so funny because everyone I know who works in documentaries is like, "Oh my God, that's so real. It's so accurate."
It really is. And she's
It's such
great.
a slog.
Um, and so finally, the New Yorker, Paul Moakley is the man who runs that department.
Mm,
He said we'd like to bring it on. So they've made it. It's actually a New Yorker film,
mm.
um, with their logos and everything on it. So
All right.
it'll go up on their site early fall.
Okay.
In the meantime, we're just getting the word out about it and
Yeah.
showing it to people all over the country. We've got one in California. And each time we hope to have cartoonists there with me and
Great.
Kathy and Judith, to talk to people. So
That's fantastic. And I understand that at the Society of Illustrators, which if anyone wants to go to that one on March 19th, that's on 63rd and Lex, there will be, as well as the panel and the screening, it'll be yourself, Rose Chast, Emily Flake. Is there one other person? I can't remember if
Roz,
there's
Chess,
someone
Emily
else.
Flake. No, me and Kath.
And Kathleen.
I think Kathleen is there.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't remember. Um,
But I think you'll be signing and selling books at the event as well.
Judith is moderating it. Our
Oh,
producer.
terrific. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
And also,
Um,
Athena Film Festival is at Barnard College, and it's a film festival of films by women.
right.
It's a great festival. It's been around for years, and
Mm.
there'll be Amy Wong, who went to Barnard, will be on that panel.
Oh, okay. Nice. That's on March 9th, right?
Yes, Bishop
Yeah.
Shaw, I think.
Okay.
Yep, and somebody else. I'm sorry, I don't remember.
No, that's great. It's good that people get to sort of see cartoonists out in the wild. You know, we always we're all sort of huddled in our little studios here, and no one really
That's right.
sees cartoonists. We're not very visible. Our work is, but it's nice.
Mhm.
It's and the the good thing about your book as well as the documentary is that you're showing a variety of different kinds of cartoonists with different styles, different stories, different backgrounds. And it's such an interesting time, particularly at the New Yorker. And I really noticed this at the New York Public Library Century of the New Yorker exhibition, and you're the one that you curated at the Society of Illustrators, that there is such a diverse mix of cartoonists now, not just in style and perspective, just across everything, across race and gender and ethnicity, and everyone has a very unique perspective. It's not as homogenized as it used to be. It's not as um, let's be honest, it was a bit of an old boys club for a long time.
White male, yep.
And it is different now. I think it's hard to describe to people, and I feel this way about the National Cartoonist Society as well. That also had the exact same sort of makeup for a long time, and now it does not. But people kind of have an idea in their head about something, and I think it's important for people to know that it has changed and it is evolving, and it has changed quite a lot. You've been in there since what, 1976, 74?
79, I sold my first cartoon, but they didn't run.
79.
They didn't run they ran the second one first in 82. So it was a excruciating wait to have my cartoon published.
No one knows that feeling. Cartoonists, we talk about it, but I don't think the public knows that once we sell a cartoon, we have no idea when it's going to run. The New Yorker buy it, they pay for it, and then it just sits in the hopper waiting, and we find out when you find out. We have to get the edition. They don't email you going, "Hey, your cartoon's going to run this week." You open the magazine and you find out with everybody else.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's excruciating the wait. You're like, there's something called the Zeigarnik effect. And it's about the way your brain holds information of like unfinished tasks or things that are not quite like resolved. And I have so many cartoons in the back of my head that I know I've sold that haven't run. They just live in there.
Yeah, well, there are babies, you want people to see them, right?
Yeah, exactly. And your documentary, I don't know. I mean, I didn't get to make the screening in the fall because I was away, but I wanted to sort of ask how you got so many, because there's 100 years of cartoons to choose from. I mean, there's so many, and it's difficult to know not only what to include but what to cut, because so much of being a director is having to make those difficult decisions. So how did you decide? How did you manage to curate, in the documentary, what to include?
You're right. It was really hard. So it is 100 years plus, but I was just dealing with women, so that cuts down a lot of choices.
Sure.
And people who identify as women. Now let me just see if I can answer your question concisely. It's not a historical documentary. So I knew I wanted some of the history in there, because these women. There was a woman in the first issue of the magazine in 1925 named Ethel Plummer. So there were women from the beginning, because the New Yorker, from what I read and researched, that they didn't care. It was the 1920s too. There were a lot of women doing illustrations and cartoons at the time. And Harold Ross, who founded the New Yorker with his wife Jane Grant, she was an activist feminist and a writer for the New York Times. So I think, although she was not involved with the running of the magazine, she probably on one level she did a lot of fundraising. I think her influence was felt as a feminist. So we didn't include Ethel because she didn't stay there very long, but we mentioned her. And there were other really well-known cartoonists like Helen Hokinson and Barbara Sherman and Mary Petty. So those three, we decided we would focus on them for the history bits, because they were so popular and so prolific, and they all three had quite different voices, which I loved, different styles, different voices, and the base of the movie, Jason, is that I really wanted it to be, and all this is, my ideas, but so much back and forth with our team. ideas that I had were shot down, and things they said was like, "That won't work." So it was a and you and I know we're solo artists.
Mm.
Working with a team is a completely different animal, and I really loved it.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
but I did know that I wanted this documentary to be um, more about the creative process and women's voices, and how
Mm.
cartoons are not necessarily just about a joke, but they're about the cartoonist's experience in life, and
Mm.
that women have not had that um, uh, opportunity for most of the last century. You know, there were some of us there, but not
Mm.
a lot. It was primarily the male point of view. So
Right.
that's what I really wanted to focus on, and I thought I wanted to be stylized, uh, and I wanted to draw with the cartoonists, the modern
Mm.
cartoonists. So that's what we did, and the Society of Illustrators gave us their is it third floor, the bar room for free. They're so generous.
That's
Let us
fantastic.
shoot there. So we had
Mm.
one-on-ones, me and 5 cartoonists at different times, different days,
Mhm.
just talking and drawing together.
I love that.
And then the idea came about because we had a connection with the Algonquin Hotel. Judith
Yes.
knew the manager, and we went back and forth on that idea because not being a filmmaker, although I am one now, um, it's a complicated shoot to do a round table of 10 people. It's just
Yeah.
kind of a nightmare.
Yeah.
But we did it, and we decided to do it. So there's several scenes of 10 of us. We brought in 5 more cartoonists
Mhm.
to be at the round table and just draw. We all had paper, we're all drawing and talking about um, what it's like to be a cartoonist, and particularly a one who's a woman. So
Mm.
that was, and that seems to be the scenes that everybody just adore because, as you said earlier, we there's a feeling like we are all so solo in our studios, and there's this
Yes.
feeling with this roundtable, like, we sort of let go and talk and talk and talk, and many of us had known each other quite a while.
Of
So
course. Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
fun.
I mean,
Mhm.
that I feel like that's such a big piece to the community. You had mentioned in your Substack, I think today or yesterday, about the fact that there's a large community of cartoonists now, quite a large community of cartoonists now. It's not. It never used to be quite as big,
Yeah.
but everyone kind of knew each other because we go into the New Yorker to pitch every week, and we'd sort of, talk shop, and we kind of knew each other in as much as we did the same things, and we would trade notes. And to me, that was such a big, valuable part of being a cartoonist, especially at the New Yorker, because I learned so much from other cartoonists, and I would be able to kind of get a sense of where I was at the level of writing or drawing or anything. I'd
Mm.
show my batch to Mort Goberg, to Sam Gross. There were people I could kind of, if they were there, I knew I could kind of,
Mhm.
they were very generous with their feedback, and I could give it to them and sort of just say, "Hey, what do you think?" And they would be completely unabashed about telling me what they thought about it, which was honestly, it was a masterclass because it was the fastest way to learn, was to just
Mhm.
listen to the people who do it and have been
Yeah.
doing it for decades, literally
Yeah, it's true,
decades.
true. Um,
Yeah. I just before we continue, I did want to just reset and let everyone know. I'm talking with Liza Donnelly, New Yorker cartoonist and author, who has 3 screenings coming up of her new documentary directed with Kathleen Hughes, Women Laughing, on March 9th at the Athena Film Festival, March 19th at the Society of Illustrators, and March 25th at the Brooklyn History Library.
mhm.
Speaking of cartoonists talking and drawing together, every episode around this time, I flip the camera and draw. You're very welcome to join me. I'd love you to
Okay.
join me. I know you
Mhm.
do this on your Substack. Um, and I want to continue the community conversation because I know that over the years I think you've met, gosh, all of the great working cartoonists at the New Yorker, and a lot of them are your friends.
Mhm.
But you had mentioned in your Substack, that in recent times, a lot of them, unfortunately, they've passed away, or they're no longer submitting, or you don't really see them anymore because there's no more
Mhm.
in person pitching. at the magazine.
Mhm.
How do you keep in touch with everyone? How are you keeping tabs on people?
Uh, email.
Oh, it's email. It's email.
Well, I mean, what else? I mean, I get together with some of them, like Roz and I have for a while. Roz Chast and I were going
Hmm?
to coffee shops in New York because we both love New York. We both love coffee shops, so we were
Right.
hanging out and having lunch together. Let's see, because back when I started, Jason, um, there was a regular lunch with cartoonists uh,
Right. Yes.
on Wednesdays. There were 2 meetings. One was on Tuesday for the more established cartoonists and us youngins, which included, Sa believe it or not, Sam Gross, Jack
He was a
Ziegler,
youngin.
Ross well, he was one of the older of the group, but,
Okay.
Jack
Sure.
Ziegler, Ross Chast,
Wow.
myself, Bob Benkoff came sometimes. Who
Hmm.
else? Mick Stevens, so we'd have lunch together, um, and that was like our and then we would sometimes would go do other things like, this pen's not working. We
Oh,
would go down to Tin Pan Alley and play some pool and have more beers, and then one time we went on the Circle Line, one time we went to a Mets game.
that's so
Um,
great.
so it was really fun, but now there's really no established, in-person, uh,
Yeah, which is
things
such a shame. It's
with
such a
the
shame
edit.
that we don't really have that anymore. I did get to go to the Pergola des Artistes
Mm, mhm,
lunch a couple of times before that kind of went away. And it was sort of just before the pandemic, things were sort of changing and yeah, it did feel like there was something lost there that we kind of that very special tradition of the cartoonists
mhm,
getting to hang out
mhm,
and spend time together was such a was such a big part of the job that we've now we don't really
mhm.
have. We certainly don't have it like that. We but we can text and we can email and we can do all kinds of things, but we can't really I don't know, hang out every week like that. No,
Yeah,
it's
but
a
we make an
very
effort. We could make an
we
effort, I
try.
suppose. Mm,
We could try. We could certainly try. Now, I want to talk about your drawing here because everyone who's watching, and by the way, if you want us to draw anything, you make a comment in the little comments box at the bottom of the live stream here. Um, Liza is using a dip pen
yeah,
with ink.
mhm.
I don't know. Are you using Higgins ink? What kind of ink are you using?
Yeah,
Getting nerdy about this.
it's Black Magic Higgins.
Nice. Um,
Mhm.
I started using some after seeing you drawing
Oh,
with
yeah?
the crow quill. I think it was a crow quill. Well, no, it was a hunt
7, usually, that's the one I started with.
107.
This is,
Right,
uh
right,
this is paper. This paper's not really very fine, so I this hunt didn't work very well, but this bigger one,
right,
um, worked better today for the
right. I always like watching people work by hand, and I learn a lot by watching people work by hand. And I think
Mhm,
there's a real value in that hand drawn skill because you get a sense within the line, you get a sense kind of the personality. You know,
mhm.
you watch someone like George Booth draw a dog, and you can just feel the George coming out of the of the
Yeah.
line. You know,
Well, hopefully,
and
that's the idea, you know? Your one's personality, like you just said, comes out in the line, uh,
yeah,
and also in the
yeah.
idea, whatever your idea might be, too. Your
Right.
personality comes through. Mhm.
I'm not going to do the cliche thing of asking you where you get your ideas, but you have been submitting to the magazine for such a long time. You must have such a backlog of rejects and of ideas that you've reworked and how do you manage and catalog all of the cartoons that you've been pitching?
Uh Well, in my studio, I have boxes and boxes of paper ideas, cartoons that I submitted before we got computers.
Mm,
They're there, and my daughter, our daughter, helped catalog them, so they're by
hmm.
subject matter.
That's
And
great. Nice.
I don't really go back to them hardly ever. I'm not a fan of my old work right now, but that's probably typical of many
That's very
people.
normal. That's very
Yeah.
normal. Yeah.
Um, and now I do my weekly drawings on my iPad. So the sketches are on an
Ah.
iPad, in a
Okay.
program called Paper, which
Hmm.
each sorry, Paper has like little each it has journals, so you can so each batch is a journal.
Oh,
So like
okay.
I date the journal, and then so I have a huge record of what was submitted and when, and
Right.
that's how I keep track of. And then but it's hard to find, like they're not cataloged like by subject matter; they're just cataloged by when I submitted them. Um,
Ah,
so
right. I always wonder about that. Everyone has a different system and they just build it around their own personality or the way that they organize things. The aforementioned Amy Huang, I think, might be one of the most organized cartoonists I know. She's got a whole
I
system.
imagine, yeah, yeah,
she's
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 great.
very organized.
She's great. She was in
Um,
the movie. Hmm.
yeah, I noticed that she's in the movie. Some of my favorite cartoonists are in the movie. It's a really
Hmm.
it's quite a list. It's an impressive list. We
No.
have some comments that I wanted to just mention. Stan, um, Paul saying, "How about something topical? If we draw the Statue of Liberty with a paper bag over her head, holes cut out for the eyes." Oh, okay, thanks, Paul.
Oh God.
Um, how about the interpretation of Trump's interaction with the Supreme Court this evening after they went against his tariffs?
Mm.
Sure, I mean that's
Yeah, that's easy.
that would-
Mhm.
it's a little kid having a tantrum, really. Um,
I'm looking forward to tonight, if you're going to watch it, if anybody's going to watch the State of the Union, how Trump interacts with the Supreme Court when he walks by them as he arrives. Because last year he was, very chummy with a few of them, but some of
mm,
those people that he appointed voted against, or sorry, ruled against him
that's right.
recently.
Yeah.
So what am I doing here? Uh, that's not quite right.
I love that you can just draw the Statue of Liberty from memory.
Well, I've drawn her so many
and
times.
Sure. Yeah. It's interesting, I have a very different reaction every time I see the Statue of Liberty because as an immigrant, it
Hmm.
has a very particular meaning for me and other people have their own, relationship with it as a symbol
Hmm.
in America for all of our ideals and for freedom and for all of these things that we have honestly a lot of Americans I know have sort of come to take for granted
Yeah.
about the country, and I see it nearly every day. I see the Statue of Liberty, and
Oh, do you?
I feel very emotional now looking at it. Every time I see it, it's very sort of stirring, you know.
That's nice. I feel the same way. Um, and I'm not an immigrant,
Yeah,
but
no, I mean,
I'm
yeah,
very emotional. I mean, I'm very, very worried about our democracy, as so many people are. And
yeah.
I
You
use her as. Mhm. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just going to say that you've been I think more than anyone I've seen on Substack, with very few exceptions. You've been drawing a lot of cartoons daily, sort of regularly, about the things that are happening in
Hmm.
politics and in the news, particularly with Trump. It's been this sort of it's like drinking from a fire hose. Truly, the amount of crap that we have to work with, as far as the events, you've
Hmm.
managed to sort of journal and distill them regularly. So you have this back catalog, this archive. And if anyone hasn't subscribed, please go and subscribe to Liza's
Thank you, Jason.
Substack, seeing things. How are you finding it with this just absolute tsunami of news that comes through? How do you deal with it?
Uh, how do I deal with it? Well, posting every day. I don't do politics every single day,
Mhm.
but I don't write. I write as well as draw. But so, and I've drawn Trump so many times now. I also bring back drawings I did about him in his first go around, which are still applicable. Drawings that I did then are still usable as
Mm,
current. But I do a political cartoon when it feels like there's something to say. I don't.
mm,
Luckily, I'm not. I'm not. It's the great thing about Substack is we're not supposed to do anything every single day, so we can do what we want.
mm. Yeah.
And so if something moves me about Trump, I will draw about that. I always wanted to be a political cartoonist, Jason, from when I was a kid. I grew up in Washington, D.C., and
Right, yeah.
I remember Herb Block was a big influence, although his style is different than mine. What he was
Sure.
doing was important. Gary Trudeau and Doonesbury was huge when I was growing up.
Yeah, of
And so
course.
those ways of looking at politics really influenced me, as well as Peanuts and Charles Schulz, who was political in his own way. So I just wanted to be a political cartoonist, but then I looked closely at the New Yorker and I saw that um, they had political cartoons. So
Mm,
I set my sights on the New Yorker, and my third drawing that I sold to the magazine was a political cartoon back in 1984. So
wow,
it was
wow.
thrilling. So
That
I'm politically inclined, and now I do these Trump drawings, which I don't even submit to the New Yorker because they won't run them, and I'm not.
mm,
I have a contract, but they don't need to see the political ones. They're not New Yorker cartoons.
right. Yeah, well, they do I mean, I noticed that they have been running some political stuff on the daily cartoons
That's
that's sort of
true.
more topical. And I see there are some great cartoonists I who have some really like up to the minute takes, like Brendan Loper, I know
Yeah,
is submitting often,
yeah.
and there's a lot of cartoonists who I think even Mort Gerberg is still submitting dailies, which is
Oh, is he?
amazing. He's in his mid 90s and he's still submitting cartoons to the magazine.
Mhm,
And it is interesting to see people's sort of interpretations of how to distill these ideas and opinions in a cartoon that isn't all just so repetitive or doom and gloom, and they can
mhm,
use humor as a tool to sort of
mhm.
demystify or decipher some of the more complex issues. Um, do you have any favorites at the moment? And anyone whose work you're really enjoying?
I don't really wanna say, it's 'cause I like everybody's work for the most part.
No, of course, of course. No,
My
I just mean
husband,
if it,
Michael Maslin, I love his work, but he's not really political, he doesn't do political cartoons. Um,
right, sure, sure.
mhm,
Yeah, no, I've just noticed because there's some new voices that pop up, and Michael, if anyone hasn't already, people can subscribe to Michael Maslin's Ink Spills blog on Substack.
mhm,
I just noticed that what's fascinating about Ink Spills, I mean, it's great to sort of see some of the archives, the great older work from the archives of, and including original drawings of New Yorker cartoonists. But
mhm.
he documents the new faces that pop up each week if there
He
is a new
does.
face in the magazine.
Mhm,
And what that leads me to do is then go, oh, I've never heard of that person. I'll go and look up their work, and then
mhm.
I'll sort of stumble upon someone's sort of portfolio, someone I haven't even heard of until now, which is a really fun way to sort of get to know
Yeah.
who's working.
Michael is doing a great service, and I don't mean to correct you, but I'm going to correct you. It's ink spill,
Mm.
no
And
S.
spill, yes, I think I
Yeah.
put a plural in there. My bad.
Just if you're
Yeah,
looking
and
for it. Mhm.
yeah, yeah. There are a lot. I think he mentions sort of that that is however many cartoonists are in each issue, but also how many new cartoonists have joined the magazine since the new tenure of the new cartoon editor Emma
Mhm,
Allen in
mhm.
2017.
Yeah,
It's
he keeps track, and there's also on his website, not on, Substack, but he has a website, um, which is an Inkspill is connected to his website, and on that site, he has a list of all the cartoonists that ever published in the magazine, as that he knows of. So he's frequently updating that. He'll find a cartoonist, "Oh my god, I didn't know that that person published one cartoon in 1932." So,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
so he's got a list with little bios of most of them.
That's such a great. He's doing a real service. He's sort of the unofficial, I guess, cartoon historian of the New Yorker because there is no official anyone doing that at Condé Nast. It feels like a
Yeah,
very important thing to document.
yeah, yeah,
And I know he's an author in his own right. What do you? I'm just looking at the drawing you've done there. It's
yeah. I don't know what the caption so I think this would be like, I'm thinking about what Trump would be saying in this on the TV here, but
Mm,
maybe it doesn't even need to have a caption, but that's how I come up with ideas sometimes, is just start drawing and, the whatever's in the drawing suggests a caption.
right, right. Yeah, I always wonder. I think I don't know if it was Bob Mancock who for sort of first introduced me to this idea that there are word firsters and doodle firsters. The people who come up with the caption
Mhm.
first or the idea first, and then other people who
Mhm.
just sort of doodle and
Mhm.
then try and think of a
Mhm.
caption. Are you a doodle firster?
I'm both, but, so when I first began, I was more of just a drawer first because, uh,
Mm.
I was I loved captionless cartoons, and they're
Mm,
maybe easier to come up with if you come at them first from drawing perspective,
yeah.
um, but I am much more comfortable with words now than I used to be, and so um, I do both. It's really a combination
Right.
for me, both.
Right. Right.
And I think,
Um,
Emily Flake told me she writes first. So she
right.
wri
Right.
she's a writer first, and then she does the drawing. And Roz is I don't know how Roz works, really. I think she's a word and doodle draw person, but
Right. Right.
she has a lot of verbal content in her cartoons, so she is like a writer too.
Yes. Speaking of someone whose
Mhm.
personality is in their line, Roz, one of my absolute
Mhm.
all-time favorite cartoonists. So much character comes out. Her personality comes out in her line, let alone the
Mhm.
the the words. I wanted to quickly, before we wrap up, I want to talk to you. I've been talking to a lot of cartoonists about this because it is affecting our industry. I wanted to know your thoughts on AI as far as it pertains to sort of art generators and sort of, I do know for a fact that Emma Allen at the New Yorker has mentioned that she's been receiving AI generated New Yorker cartoon submissions,
Mm.
and that was in 2022. So by
How does she know that?
26,
Mhm. Go ahead.
I mean, people have either mentioned it in the submission or they've just noticed because when they were submitting them early on, this is when I asked her in 2022, that they were quite obviously, AI
Mhm.
generated
Mhm. Mhm.
cartoons, and I don't know if they have an official policy against it. But what are your thoughts on it? I've never really seen you write much about it.
No, I don't think I've written anything about it. I get asked that question almost every time I'm interviewed.
Right, right. Sorry.
I don't No, 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 I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's like it is important topic.
Sure.
Uh, I'm not anti-AI, but when it comes to art and humor, I am.
Mm,
I don't think it's
right.
a good I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think AI can replicate what we do in a honest way, because it's
And
about
then, yeah.
human experience. It's about our human experience.
Right, right.
Mhm.
And coming back to what we were talking about with being able to see the human sort of personality in the line, you
Mhm.
do lose a lot of that authenticity and that sort of human
Mhm.
connection when you just sort of outsource the creation of the art to a
Do you
robot, right?
Are comedians using AI, Jason?
They're trying. AI is not funny yet. It really isn't funny yet. And
Mhm.
there are discussions about it because some comedians, they use it to brainstorm, which is actually it's quite
Mm.
a useful tool in that
Mhm.
sense.
I've done
If you're
that.
coming up,
Mhm.
yeah,
Mhm.
and honestly, that I can see that as the utility that it was sort of meant to sort of fulfill early on was like, well, it's kind of it's a bicycle for the mind. It's helping an existing skill. It's a tool that you can use,
Yeah.
and
Uh-huh.
I agreed with that. I was like, well, yeah, I mean, it's no different than a word processor in that sense. But as
Mhm.
it developed, and the people who are building it, decided instead of building it with alongside creators ended up just stealing their work to build it. It just sort of became, oh, okay, that's not what this tool is doing at all. You
Mhm.
can use it for that, but I know comedians are talking about the fact that it has limited use as far as making something funny because humor is such a, as you know, it's such a difficult thing to master.
Mhm.
But it's also just really better used as a brainstorming partner or tool. If you want
Mhm.
to do a joke about a topic and then you just want to expand on the top and go, brainstorm with me about robots or about
Mhm.
buildings or cars. You can sort of use it in that way, but certainly not to write jokes because it's just
Right.
not funny. It might be,
Yeah, and
one day.
No, I agree with you. I tried that too. I tried brainstorming with, ChatGPT, and it was, like,
Mm.
surprisingly fun, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't
Yeah.
use it. I just was seeing what it was like. I don't use it.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I mean, I do wonder if it has some. I certainly haven't used it to brainstorm for New Yorker cartoons, but
Mhm.
I do wonder if people are using it that way to kind of punch up ideas or
Mhm.
concepts.
Mhm.
Um, yeah,
Probably
but
are. Mhm.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I did not work with any other cartoonists or writing partners or anyone like that for the first sort of 15-ish years of uh, my work as a cartoonist, because I did a comic strip and I
Mm.
did political cartoons and
Mhm.
for newspapers. So I didn't really there wasn't really too much of an opportunity to collaborate in that sense, unless I had some kind of Harker and Hart relationship, like Wizard of Id or Zits with Jerry Scott and Jim Borgman's kind of relationship. Um, and then I started writing with a writing partner about 2018, I want to say,
Mm.
and found the process to be very rewarding, very interesting,
Oh,
because
good.
in the way that, as you say, it's such a solitary job, and so, you celebrate the wins alone and you also tolerate the losses alone.
Mhm.
Every now and then, it's nice to bring someone in to sort of share the journey,
Mhm.
both ends of it, and just be able to see what their brain makes of an idea that you might be stuck on, or
Mhm.
that you would never have thought to take a direction that you'd
That's
never thought to take an idea.
Uh-huh. Yeah. It's, it it works for some people. And
Yeah.
I know I did do some ideas of other people's, like a writer who I know came to me with a cartoon idea, and I thought this is pretty good. So I drew it, and they published it. His name is Brian Miller. He was the
Oh.
food critic for the New York Times. He's no longer there, but
Oh,
this
okay.
is, and then a couple of comedians approached me to do ideas of theirs, which
Oh,
was
great.
kind of fun. Like Amy Schumer wanted me to draw an idea, which I did, but they
Never
didn't
heard
buy
of
it.
her.
And Carol Leifer, who's a writer and a comedian,
Oh, yeah.
she
Really fun.
wanted me to draw a couple of ideas, which I did, and they never sold. So it's interesting to try to do that.
Yeah.
I also worked with a uh, somebody who's Carl Kissen is his name. He's a improv teacher and
Mm,
performer, and I
mhm.
met him at a funeral,
Of course.
a Zoom funeral, a mutual friend, and I've done improv, and I find it really inspiring. And so
Mm,
I thought this could be interesting working with an improv actor, and we did a
yeah.
couple of cartoons, and they did sell. So and they were co-bylined in the New Yorker. But
I love that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and he's very good. That we sold like 3 or 4, I think, but frankly, nothing to do with Carl, because he's a wonderful guy and he had great ideas. I just really
Mm,
didn't wanna get um, uh, I felt like it might affect my own personal voice, so I kind of
sure. Yeah.
I said to Carl, "I'm really sorry, I just don't wanna do this anymore." And it was not because of him, but I just really wanted to do my own work.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. No, I
mhm,
totally relate to that. I think,
and he also
you.
go ahead.
Sorry, go on.
He and I would actually collaborate, so it was not like just taking his idea and drawing it, which is what I did with Amy Schumer. She just gave me the idea, and I interpreted it with my drawing,
Mm,
but Carl and I
right.
would do that back and forth thing which you were talking about, and that was fun.
Yeah, yeah. That is the fun bit for me, is throwing it back and forth
Mhm,
and seeing how it evolves from the original idea,
mhm,
and sort of seeing it become something that neither of us could have predicted at the beginning of the idea. Sort of just watching it grow into something. That's a really fun process.
mhm,
So we are going to wrap up just in a moment, but before I do, I have written down here the dates and places where people can see the documentary "Women Laughing," directed by Liza, directed with Kathleen Hughes, Liza Donnelly with Kathleen Hughes.
mhm,
We have March 9th at the Athena Film Festival. We have March 19th at the Society of Illustrators alongside Rose Chast and Emily Flake. And on the 25th at the Brooklyn History Library, where people can see the screening. And as you mentioned, I think next or this fall, it may pop up on the New Yorker's
It will.
website. But go and see it
will.
in person first. Everyone should go and
You
see it in
should.
person.
Let me just give you the names of the people who are going to be at these various things. So,
Oh,
if
sure.
it's
Yeah.
Roz and Emily will be at the Society of Illustrators one coming up, and then that is hosted by the Women's Media Center. By the way,
Oh, great.
they're great. So Athena Film Festival at Bard, we will have. Okay, is it on this website? Oh, Amy Wong, Liana Fink, I think. Sorry, no, that's a list of the people in the film. I apologize, Jason. I should have been more
No,
prepared.
not at all. Not at all.
No,
No, it's
Amy
fine.
Wong for sure is going to be there. Bishak Som, and I think maybe Liana at that word. And Emily, I'm sorry, Emily Flake. And then that's at the Athena Film Festival. And the other one in the Brooklyn will be Brooklyn people. Emily Flake, Liana Fink, and Bishak Som will be there. So if you want to meet those cartoonists, then you should come. Oh, it's also being moderated by a comedian, Ophira Eisenberg. Do you know her?
Oh, Ophira Eisenberg. Yeah, that's great. Really funny.
I don't know her.
Very funny.
Yeah, I don't know her, but they've worked with her before, so they really wanted to have her. Let me bring this around.
Yeah, that's great. I think, I saw Ophira Eisenberg recently at the,
Did you?
I think at the Comedy Cellar or another show. Really, really funny comic.
Good.
Yeah. That sounds like it'll be a really good one. Anyone who has not already should also subscribe to Liana Fink's Substack as well. She's doing some great stuff on here as well. I appreciate you making time, by the way. I know that you're very busy, but are there any other Substackers that you can think of that you read? Any other cartoonists, particularly women cartoonists at the New Yorker who are on Substack?
I was just trying to remember who else is on there. Hillary Campbell.
Yes, Hillary Campbell. Yep.
And Liana.
Liana Fink.
Who else, Jason, is on?
Sophia Warren. Liana.
Oh, yeah.
Amy Huang. I'm not sure if Amy has a Substack.
No, she doesn't.
Or Emily. I know Emily's been thinking about it. And she already does so many things. It's as if she has time to start a Substack. Who else? I mean, there's so many great cartoonists working right now and who have Substack. So I'm noticing more people moving away from social media like Instagram and things like that and coming here. I know that Amy Kurzweil as well has a great Patreon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a new place for us where we can earn a living and people support us, and we don't have a gatekeeper, so it's really lovely.
Yeah. Yeah. And congrats to you, because your Substack has been it's one of the first Substacks I subscribed to, but it's been going from strength to strength. You have a very a tight community of people there, and I'm sort of always impressed by the comments section of your posts. There's so many people who've been there since day one. You know,
they're great. They're so great. They're really supportive, and they talk to each other. They don't just talk to me.
Right. Yeah. It's a real community. It's a nice place. It feels very finding like-minded people, you know?
That's nice to hear. And I do the politics. I know you want to go, right? I do the politics because now, since Trump, it makes me feel like I'm doing something when I write about what's going on and I draw about what's going on. And I think some of my followers like my curation because they trust me, for Christ's sake. I mean,
God forbid.
They get. I know, and I'm very careful. I always link to sources and stuff. But they say they don't want to read the newspaper, so they get the breaking news from me, which is a big responsibility. Wow. But I really makes me feel like I'm helping somehow. This is such a nightmare right now. Good.
It is. Well, you are a light in the dark. Believe me, the cartoons and things that and the writing that you're putting out is helping people, and it's sort of finding people like you and Anne Telnays and people who are sort of shining a light on these things. It does help people feel less alone in this horrible sort of reality that we're in. You know,
Emily Flake says that at the end of our movie that she draws. First of all, she draws to help explain the world to herself and herself to herself, and then she says it makes us feel less alone. So she's She's so poetic sometimes. It's funny. She's a hysterical person, but she's got some good philosophical things to say.
Pearls of wisdom. Yes,
Yeah.
she has quite a way with words, and a great comedian too. I don't know if you've seen her do stand up. She's really funny stand up as well.
I've seen only video. I've been trying to go get her live, but I haven't.
Yeah. So anyone, I have threatened to get her on this very show, but she first needs to get a Substack. So I will get her on here somehow.
You know, that just says she has to sign up to do anything, right?
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I would love people to see her work. So if you want to know anything more about any of the cartoonists in the film, there is a website for the film. I noticed it's women. Is it womenlaughing.com or womenlaughing?
Womenlaughingfilm. Womenlaughingfilm.com. You can sign up there and get and get emails blasts from us. We don't do it often at all, but it gives you an update on screenings and what's going on with the film. Yeah.
Great. Well, we'll be posting all the ticket links down below in the replay.
Thank you.
Liza, thank you so much for coming on today. This was really fun. Thanks for drawing with me. And good luck with the film. I'll be at the screenings. I'll see you at the screenings if I don't see you at the Substack event
so glad.
in the meantime.
Oh, great. Yeah. I hope to see a lot of cartoonists there.
Yes, absolutely. We'll rally the troops.
Love the support. And because this is my life, right? And your life too. And you're doing a great thing with these lives, Jason. You're really good at this.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm enjoying them a lot. So it's nice to hear. Thank you. All right. Well, thanks everyone. Have a great day. We'll see you next time. Next one is I think tomorrow or the day after. So keep an eye out for the next one. All right. Thanks again.
Thank you, Jason.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.